Hello, crafty friend. It's Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft, my world stands still. Today, we're going to play with some new items from Pajama Crafter Stamps, and I'm really looking forward to playing with these because they've been in my craft room for a little bit now, and I've had this idea in my head for a while. So if you can hear me, that's fabulous. Let me know by saying hello or saying where you're from in the chat. It looks like Jana's here already. She says, "Hey friend, it's a warm one here in South Alabama." I can't say the same here. Today it is a little bit chilly here in Minnesota, but that's okay. I'm going to use the Yankee Doodle Day stamps from Pajama Crafter Stamps. They just had a release last week. I'm just going to show you a little bit of what they came out with because they're really wonderful and I'm excited to work with them. So this one has a ton of really cute characters and I just feel like there's lots of options for cute little summer scenes. There's a fishing one if fishing is interesting to you. This one is I Want to Be Like You stamps, which is just adorable. And there's little people, so they're kind of fun. And then there's this one that is all about chips. I think this is so fun and unique. And I do have 2 cards that I made with the chips on hand. I sent in some of my other samples, but these are kind of some fun ones. I just love this guy who's in the chip bowl. Just funny. And then this one I pulled out. It's not new to Pajama Crafter Stamps, but it is very, very popular. It's called Some Gave All. So great for American crafters if that's you. And that one goes really well with these two. Now I did put a video on my channel using these two together. It was kind of like a sunrise situation. I'm going to have another one on the Pajama Crafter Stamps channel this week using both of these 2 stamps. So it's just pretty fun. I have this idea of what I want to do on this card here today. And then if there's still time, maybe we'll watercolor this scene. I don't know. It just depends on where the direction of this one and where that's going because I have some ideas. This one might take a little bit. So we'll just have to see. So I'm going to start with this stencil. I think this live was a little bit open-ended because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use quite yet until this morning. I'm going to bring in this 2-layer stencil. This one is called Celebrate Music from Pajama Crafter Stamps. It has this music notes and then it has these little confettis. So I'm going to use this one that has the music notes with the little band. I think that will be super cute. So again, this is the Yankee Doodle Day stamp set that we're going to pull from. I think this one is a really fun sentiment, the baby, you're a firework. So anyway, let's get into it. My plan is to have this musical stencil here and then have my little people in the band kind of on here. And I think this little hedgehog is the shortest. Maybe I want it this way. I think that will be good. I'm just going to lay out my plan first before we dive right in. I think this little guy with the drums is cute. I feel like if we go landscape, it'll get more people on the scene. So we'll do that. And then maybe we'll use this bear. He's a little bit bigger. So he'll kind of rest in there. Yeah, I think that's pretty cute. Maybe we could have them overlapping a little. I will probably cut down my card base a bit. I don't know. That's just not looking quite right to my eye. What are your thoughts? Am I just being silly? Maybe we'll do this. I don't know. I think having them on this wiggly thing is just not looking good to my eye. And then the whole tall medium thing is also just not quite right. I think this is what we'll do. This layout. Yes. Okay, so that's the arrangement of my little critters. I might just ditch the stencil. I don't know. What are you thinking? Let me know in the chat. And then I wanted to use the one that said, "Let freedom ring." Ever since this stamp set has come out, I've been having a lot of these little patriotic songs stuck in my head because I've been looking at the stamps and such and working with them. I think we're going to do the fireworks as well in the sky. I think that will be really fun. And then some kind of a ground because they don't need to be floating around. Maybe we'll add in the music notes from this stamp set like this. Just do a little hoop-de-doo somewhere. Maybe here. I don't know. We'll have to include those somehow. Maybe. But there's so many little critters. I think my favorite is probably this bald eagle because he just is so darling. And then also this little raccoon because I love raccoons. So there's that. Oh, hi, Tanya. And hello, Cheryl. Welcome, welcome. A rainy day in Kentucky. It's also raining here. A light rain. So it's kind of a relaxing day. Technically, this is perhaps my first day of summer. Not really, because I still have a few more days this week where I need to be in school. But yesterday was my last day with my sweet kindergartners, and it was pretty bittersweet because I don't know. I love them. Okay, I'm using watercolor paper, which might seem a little strange, but I really enjoy watercoloring, and we're going to bring in some watercolor pencils. So I figured it would be kind of a fun technique to show as well. So this is my stamp wheel. Where is my cover? There it is. Stamp wheel number 1. We'll just leave these off to the side. Actually, we'll put this here. And I think these are going to overlap, so we'll do one critter at a time. But I do want them to kind of go off of the card base a little bit or card front, because I want it to look like they're kind of going in a band line. Is he too high up? I think so. 100. That's pretty hot, Cheryl. At least that's hot for me. Last week it was in the 90s here, 95 or something on last Tuesday. So it's never boring. If you're ever wanting to make your life more mysterious, move to Minnesota. All right, I'm going to use embossing powder with my whole project here. So I'm going to use the Versifying Black embossing powder, and I'm going to be a good crafter and use my anti-static tool. This week we still have in-service days and graduation and such, but that's all right. Oh my, Paula is from Barbados. Hello from Barbados. Wow. Fun. And Sharon says British Columbia. How fun. Cheryl says too cold in your neck of the woods. Ain't that the truth? Except wait for July. It's going to be pretty warm. But I am escaping in July. So that should be fun. I am going to Paper Genza. I'm so pumped. And in June, I finally get to meet in person my best friend, Melanie. I'm so pumped. Okay, where is my stamp tool? Well, I don't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Melanie and I are going to spend some time together. I'm so pumped. I get to meet Joy, the owner of Pajama Crafter Stamps. I'm really excited about that too. And I am going to double stamp this because I'm using watercolor paper. And It is a little bit of it's not a smooth finish. I am using the smooth side, but I want this to have like a crisp, clean look. Oh my goodness, these characters are just so darling. I am loving how they were drawn. I'm pretty sure Michelle designed this one. Let me check the back. Yes, Michelle Langley designed these ones. She is wonderful. I love how she illustrates the little critters and makes their eyes just a simple dot. To me, that is just such a classic and like gorgeous look for animals, and I really love that look. Mostly because I'm not the best with coloring eyes, but I also just love the simplicity of how just a simple dot looks for a critter. All right, now my little hedgehog guy is going to go here, and he's just going to kind of be tilted up like he's just tooting his horn high up in the air. So his little leg is going to be kicked up. And then my little, is that a fox? I don't know. We'll figure out when I stamp him. His tail's going to be off the page, which is fine. Oh, Pippa says hello from the UK. Not sure how long I can watch for. Oh, that's wonderful. I know sometimes about having these lives at different times, we can meet new people from all over. I know a lot of times our lives are in the evening here in the US, and that is bedtime for a lot of our UK friends. So it's kind of fun to have a live midday US time-ish. See some of our fun international friends. Yes, and she mentioned that she could perhaps finish by watching the replay, and that is always an option. If you're here watching the replay, hi, say hello in the comments. After the video is live, the comment area is open for you. Okay, this little guy is going to go here. I love that they have hats. They just look so darling. This would be a fun one to use for scrapbook pages as well, especially if you have kids or grandkids in marching band. I know that's kind of a big deal here in the US, especially around the summertime when there are parades going on. One time there was a parade I went to in the middle of Minnesota, and they had, I think it was 9 marching bands there the one time. And it's just so impressive of what some of these kids can do. You can tell that they practiced a whole bunch. All right, so that is what I'm going to, that's what we're going to go with for heat embossing. The fireworks, I'm going to use a colored ink for that because I'm going to do red, white, and blue, or maybe blue and red. Let's see here. Music notes. Where do I want them? I think I want them coming out of this little horn. And maybe out of this. Is this a tuba? I think, yeah. I think we'll do that. Maybe just out of this one. I don't want it to be like too overwhelming. I think sometimes my cards can be kind of a lot. But I always say if it's too much for someone, they can go find less elsewhere. Which might be a little harsh, but whatever. Okay. Put it there. That looks great. I don't think I will double stamp that. Yeah, I think we'll leave it like that. Or should we put music notes? I'm going to put music notes after all the critters because it's just looking adorable. So I'm just going to wipe this off gently. And I promise I'll be a good crafter after the live is over and I'll clean all my stamps. Don't worry. I'm going to grab a stamp block and we'll add the music notes just freehand, not with a stamp wheel or anything. I'm so glad I have my stamp wheel because I had a little issue with my Misty involving a duck egg. And it was disgusting. So I won't go into that on other videos on my channel. So if you're interested, I guess you could find out that way. All right, I'm going to do just a rough masking on this little stamp here. I don't want to cover my little critter. I could take the time to stamp and then have that be perfectly cut out, but I simply want it to be a little less crazy. And I think we'll just do this and have just a few music notes behind our little drummer. Oh, I would have loved if that little dot was there. We'll add it later with pen. No biggie. Post-it notes for the win. All right. What's everybody up to today? I'm so curious. Are you crafting? Are you at work? You never know. All right, I'm going to take some clear embossing powder and heat emboss this. Oh, where did my clear embossing powder go? Oh, I just remembered I need to open up this because I just got new clear embossing powder. Actually, it wasn't new. I shopped my stash. Probably bought it about a year ago when my local craft store went out of business, which was very sad. Still not over that. Oh my goodness, it's double sealed. This is the clear superfine detail from Ranger. I always buy superfine when I get embossing powder. And yeah, I dump it in here and I use these little sandwich containers and then I throw out the little container. Because this is way easier for me to do this motion than to have to sift it back into a little jar. It's just not my style. Hi, Linda. Linda says hello. And then Sharon says, just relaxing after celebrating my birthday for 3 days. Had lots of fun. Oh, wow. Well, happy belated birthday. Kathleen says late, but I made it. Oh, never late to this party. No problem. Oh, did you hear the Minnesota accent there? No problem. Ay, ay, ay. All right, I'm going to take my little heat gun here. A little tip for heat embossing is to just heat the area until it's shiny. You don't want to cook it and you don't want it to burn. So I'm going to plug in my heat gun here. I've had this heat gun for years and it's been a good one. Chandelier. Chanticleer. Oh my. That's a really fun book to read to little kids if you've ever read it. Anyway, I'm going to use the Hottest tool because I am using watercolor paper, so it is a little bit thicker. So it's no big deal. And I will, if I notice any warping, I'm going to heat the back as well, and that can help with warping. So I will go ahead and mute my microphone so you don't hear a loud loud hum of a machine, but I will unmute right away. So if it's quiet, don't panic. we're back. Everything is all heat treated. Now you can see things are shiny. And the reason why I use black ink and then clear embossing powder is if any of the clear embossing powder gets where I don't want it to, it will just be a clear dot instead of a black dot. To me, that is kind of an easier way to get cleaner looks when you are working with different embossing powders. Oh, we have a question. The question asks, what grade do you teach? Good question. I teach kindergarten. I absolutely am obsessed with kindergarten. I love it. I have taught kindergarten. This is my 4th year in kindergarten. And this is my 8th year of teaching that I just finished. So before that, I taught 3rd and 4th grade in a combo class, which was definitely, it always kept me on my toes. It was definitely different every day. The age of kids is completely different than kindergarten. I just love children. I think that they're just so fun, and it really is different every day. So that is lovely. But I do love kindergarten mainly because they are just so happy a lot of the time, and they are just so eager to be kids and learn new things, and things are exciting for them. So I love kindergarten. Plus, I get to teach them how to read and count and write their name, which are skills that they're going to use forever. And I think that, I feel honored to be part of their little life. All right. I'm using Distress watercolor pencils. These are woodless. So the whole pencil is the pigment, and then they're wrapped with these stickers. So they're pretty easy to use for stamped images. And I'm basically going to go for a red and blue theme because this is kind of an American style card, and the colors for the US are red, white, and blue. So I'm going to go ahead and just color areas red and blue, etc. So we're just going to see what happens here. My hedgehog, my fox, and bear are going to be just like true hedgehog, fox, and such colors. I will try to kind of turn the pencil so you see the name of it, if that helps. But if you ever get watercolor pencils, I encourage you just to play and see what you come up with. All right. Cheryl says, question, I watched episodes where you had your craft room renovation. Did you ever get it finished? I never saw the results. Me either. We are still in the process of working on our house. That was a good question, Cheryl. They are, we're about halfway done. I'd say I am definitely working in this craft space, and I have for a number of months now. I am not finished whatsoever with the area, though. It's kind of still a work in progress, to just be kind of blunt here. But one day when we finish the other projects that we have going on in our space, I will definitely do a little craft room tour, a little update about my craft room, though, this week, as I really tried, or last week. Today feels like Saturday to me, since yesterday was my last day of school. But I have been last week working on organizing all of my dies, and I am just I'm loving having my dies organized. I'm just really enjoying it. I think that it will help me use my stash more, since I can see items and I know what I have a bit more. And that is just all around very helpful for someone like me. I do struggle a little bit with the ADHD situation. So I'm a little all over the place with organization. I always think I'll find the best space to put it, and then it ends up not, either I don't remember it, or it just is not a good area, or all of the above. Anyway, I will eventually do a craft room tour. Right now, my husband's working on our dining room, and all the furniture from our dining room has been squished into other rooms in our house, including my craft room. So right now, we're just a little bit disheveled, I guess is the best way to put it. But that's all right. I am so thankful for what my husband is doing and has done. I am incredibly blessed because he has quite a lot of talent when it comes to renovations and just overall construction design. He was in the construction field for, I think, 15 years. I could be wrong on that number. Maybe it's got to be 15. But anyway, he's super skilled in that area. And he did add an archway in between my kitchen and my dining room, and I just about fell over because it's so cool. But I will eventually do a little tour. Okay, let's see. We have let's see. Oh, Kathleen says, I keep my dies in clear plastic shoebox size tubs. One has foliage, one has letters, words, other has themes. I have 5 tubs of dies. That's awesome. I think I'm going to organize mine similarly right now. Here, I'll just show you what I've been working on. For example, so I'm sure someone's going to wonder, what do you mean organizing? I have the same kind of idea of some clear tubs. We're going to take a break from the project. So here's my clear tub. Oh man, that's not really a great picture. I will put a little picture of this when the live is over on my Facebook page, Stationery by Justine. Anyway, and then I took my dies and I have the picture of the product, and then I put a little magnetic sleeve or a magnetic piece in there and put it in a plastic sleeve so then I can quick flip through and find what I want. This is not my idea. This is not legendary. Many other crafters do this. So I find it helpful. And I'm going to need my dies organized because this summer I'm going on craft roulette. So I'm going to need to find things randomly quickly in my craft room for whatever the brief might be. Okay. Let's see. Yes, all one tub is Christmas. Ooh, I should probably do that as well. Okay, a lot of people are saying that they store their items similarly, so that's fun. Yeah, so whenever I have that done and things are kind of settled down in the craft room, I'll do a little tour. It's not going to be anything like Pinterest perfect or anything because I am not rich. I don't know how else to say that. I'll reuse different items for storage. For example, I bought these wooden ornaments for my kindergartners to make, like to paint on. That was probably 3 years ago. And I used that same container where the ornaments came in for sentiment storage, some of it. So it's always good to reuse, but I don't have like the aesthetically perfect craft room, and I don't think I ever will. So that's all right. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead with ground espresso. I think we're going to color our little hedgehog body with the espresso. It is a little bit darker of a brown. And then on the body, or that's more like the quills, on the body, I'm going to use maybe a peachish color. Let's do tattered rose. Yes. Okay, Sharon asks, are those pencils you're using? Yes, I'm using watercolor pencils. These are from Ranger and Tim Holtz. Super easy to use. You just Basically treat them like a colored pencil, and then you add water, and the vibrancy makes them really pop. So that's what I like to do. Okay, I think I'm caught up in the chat, making sure I cover all the questions. It's very helpful when people say question really big and then ask their question. So thank you. Very helpful. All right. I think this is a fox. We're going to call it a fox. If it's not, sorry. If I am not mistaken, I'm pretty sure a fox is pretty orange. I know we have a lot of fox actually around us. They have black paws and legs, and then they have a white tip of a tail, and then they have like a black orangish kind of body of the tail. So I'm going to color a little bit of orange here. And I'm going to put down a lot of the colored pencil or the watercolor pencil pigment there, because if I add any dark, it's really going to go crazy. And then I know their belly is white for a fox. So we'll color the little thigh area orange, maybe just a little bit of their ankle, because that will be black. And then the mouth part is white. And then this little head area is going to be orange. Orange, red, and blue. Kind of cute. Okay, and this little fluffy spot, we'll color some of it orange, but I'll leave the bottom area. Nah, we'll put it all orange. Okay. The decisions. Okay, now for my bear. I'm thinking brown, but like a nice brown. This one is called Victorian Velvet. I love the names of some of these products. It just cracks me up. It's like they're sitting there in some boardroom going, we could call it brownie. We could call it chocolate bar. No, Victorian Velvet. That's the one. Oh, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I feel like that should be more blue down there. We'll go back with the blue. Once the pencil's on, though, there's really not a lot of erasing or anything you can do. So we're just going to pretend. The blue is a little stronger, so it should cover it up. And then the head. Let me know in the chat if you've ever used watercolor pencils. I'm curious to know. They're pretty simple to use. So, and I did buy a new yellow one. When I first started using these watercolor pencils, I accidentally snapped my yellow one in half, tragically, on a video. Oh, yeah. And I replaced it because it is a little bit trickier to use when they are short. Okay, and then let's do, for the mouth area, I think I'm going to use Vintage Photo. My favorite ink pad color. That was my first ink I ever bought. It's kind of looking like he has a mustache. I'm going to just use Vintage Photo a little bit more on the bear itself, just to give a little bit more of a depth to some of the areas of the body here. Like that. All right, am I missing anything on the bodies? Oh yeah, black on the legs of the fox. Let's see, we'll use black soot. Just kind of like that. Just a little bit. Okay, it looks like mixed reviews in the comments. Some people have, some people haven't. Yeah, they are pretty fun to use. I'm going to just flick some black on the tail, nothing too crazy. But they do have black fur on their tails, as well as orange and white. So we're going to go with that. And then for their face, I'm scared to add black to the face. I don't want it to get too muddy. Okay, then we're going to bring in some yellows. for some of the instruments. We have a horn, and I'm pretty sure tuba. Correct me if I'm wrong, if that's not a tuba. I could be so off. Let's use scattered straw. Oh, Cheryl says, is Pajama Crafter Stamps a new company? Oh, that just broke in half. No. Well, such is life. I had a feeling that some of these were going to be breaking soon because they did fall in my craft room. Oh, that was a whole tragic tale. But you know what? Just like I tell my kindergartners, a broken crayon still colors. Life lesson. Oh, dear. Okay. So back to the question, Pajama Crafter Stamps. They started in 2024. So last year, Joy Wilson. So she's a card maker and influencer online. She bought with her husband Prickly Pear stamps, and that company was sold to Pajama Crafter Stamps. So they are, I would say, a newish company, but they have been around for about a year and a half now, which is awesome. And I've been on the design team the whole time. So yeah, we're trying to promote their business as much as possible. They are a veteran-owned business, so that's a really great thing. Here I am using my other broken watercolor pencil. I did buy another one of these yellows, but I have not gone out and put it in my container yet. Oops, I did color outside the lines. See if I can erase that. It doesn't typically erase the best, but why not give it a try? Okay, and then for my drum, I want to have the little brass thing there be yellow. Grommet, what is that called? Button? I don't know. And then we'll go around the drum in yellow. And then I think we're going to make his little pom-poms or batons. What is the thing called when they're drum mallet? Is that what it's called? That should be good. And then I think I colored everything I wanted to. I wanted to leave the feathers white and their collars and cuffs of their sleeves white. I think we're good on the coloring. All right. And then we'll just grab a pencil if I can find one. As a teacher, I'm kind of obsessed with pencils. So of course we have one around here. And I'm going to just erase, hopefully, here a little bit. Oh, that's being stubborn. It's not really erasing, but whatever. It's kind of blended. Okay, so I have that all set. Next, I have to just add water. Just add water like a chia pet. And for this, I just squirt some water off to the side on my work surface. If you like using a bowl, you can. I don't like using bowls that much when I watercolor because I'm clumsy and I really don't need a whole lot of water when I'm using the watercolor pencils. You just need a little bit to activate the watercolor pigment that you have on a project, and it's all good. All right, I'm going to pick a brush. I have certain favorites that I call my emotional support paintbrushes. They're the ones with these gold handles because they've been with me since high school. So I probably will choose one of those. And I think I'm going to use my finest tip one because I have a lot of detail going on with these stamps. So let's get into it. Oh, Kathleen says, I'm a terrible colorist, can't match color tones, etc. I think the more you practice, the easier it gets. And I think watching others who are pretty skilled at it helps a lot. That's how I've tried to become better with my Copics. I am not very good with them at all, but the only way to get better is by practicing. So I'm going to go in with my lightest color first, which are my yellows. And you can already see here how that has really kind of popped and come to life. At least I hope it's showing on camera. In person, it's definitely popping. And now down here is getting a little dark. So I'm going to go back up to here where I have my light color and just bring the water down into the dark area. Because just like my dear middle school art teacher, Mrs. George, used to say, dark goes into light. Mix with a knife for paint. That's what she used to say. All right, these little areas don't really have much shading, but I will activate the pigment with water. Some people use these watercolor pencils dry too and never add water, which is another look you can do. But I just think these little critters are so cute. Alrighty, and then we'll do our tail. And again, I'm going to start with the white area and go into the dark because I don't want the tip to get muddy and I want it to stay pretty white. There we go. And then I'm just going to leave it, which is kind of the hard part about watercoloring, because when you're used to working with like an alcohol marker or something that you have a little bit more control over, you might want to go back and start fussing with things. But if you have the brush move around up into this white area, this whole tail will be one color. So we're just going to leave it. And then we'll go onto the face. And I'm not just like dumping water on this. So right now my tuba is already getting dry, which is great. All right. I did heat emboss everything. So that definitely helps for adding watercolor to these little characters because it creates almost like a little plastic wall on the card. So the water isn't going to roll all over. And then I'm going to take my little paintbrush and just do these little wigglies to help the illusion of this being a hedgehog. He's got some pokey back. Okay, Cheryl says, golly, with you being a teacher and being good at card crafting, you must have excellent colorists in your craft room. That's, yeah. We have a lot of kids that are super artsy in our school. I don't know why, but it just must run in the family. But I definitely teach art to the kids and teach coloring skills, but I am not going into all this detail with them because they are 5 and 6, but it does amaze me what a 5 and 6-year-old can do. I had a fairly small class this year and we did some sewing at the end of the year, sewing with felt. They made some Father's Day presents for their dads because school ends before Father's Day. So wanted to make sure we included the dads in the love, and we made some Mother's Day projects. But yeah, we do a lot of crafting. But it's actually really good for 5 and 6-year-olds in kindergarten to do a lot of those hands-on color cutting, gluing, painting style stuff. And I am a firm believer in free play being a big deal for children. I think children need to play. That's where a lot of their learning and like experimenting with different things in life comes from playing. So I am a firm believer in play. Oh, this red is stunning. This is the festive berry color. You can see my water isn't really even getting discolored either because I am just barely touching the colors on the paper and it is activating those watercolors so nicely. Man, these critters are just darling. Okay, is there any area where I missed? Oh yeah, the blues. So we'll do the blues. My water over here isn't even pink. It's pretty clear. Start at the top where it's a little bit lighter and then go down into the darker areas. I don't know. Like I was saying before about some of the kids just having some natural artsy skills. I think a lot of it does come from home if they have experiences or they have the opportunity to be artsy, then I think that they will. And if not, then they won't. But I think part of the artsy talents come from nurturing, and some of it is just a natural thing. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that. All right, we're just going to do a quick little wipe on the drum there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to use the watercolor pencils in another way by basically making a little watercolor wash. So I'm going to grab my brown. Maybe we'll do a gray. And you can actually use the watercolor pencils like watercolors. So I do have all of Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, the whole set. I think there's 6 of them here. And then I've gone ahead and just put them in somewhat of a rainbow order. And another way to use them is to use water and a paintbrush and to touch the pencils with the paintbrush and then just paint like you're painting with watercolors. So I'm just going to activate it a little bit here. And then kind of get a gray wash. And this is just going to be a little bit of shadow for my little critters here. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit. And then I'll just make this motion with my hand. I find that when I paint, if my arm moves at my elbow, it creates more of a natural line than if I'm doing this motion. So back and forth like the princess wave and not just with your hands. So just really light. A little bit of gray underneath each critter. And that just will give a little ground to each little friend because I don't want them just floating. I am going to turn it a little bit so it's in line with my arm. There we go. Have it be a little bit bigger for the bear because he's taller. And then kind of like a medium one for the fox. Yeah, that should do it. Really simple for the ground. Okay, let's do the fireworks. You know me, you know I love fireworks. And my husband and I actually have like a few inside jokes with fireworks. First of all, he proposed to me on 4th of July under fireworks, so that's always fun to remember. But the Katy Perry song that is quoted in the stamp set, Firework, is an inside joke between my husband and I because there's a kind of like a meme that I don't know who made it, but someone does like the baby you're a firework, but instead they do plastic bag because that's part of the song. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's fun. Okay. I'm going to do bee sting, which is a red, and my fireworks here. I'm just going to stamp some of them around, and then I'm going to come in with clear skies, which is a blue, and just have blue and red fireworks in the back of my little project here. I'm going to try to keep it so they're not going over the sentiment. Maybe turn them a little bit. Like So, gotta get over my project here. There we go. Then we'll do one more little red guy up here. And then I'll just wipe it off and grab some blue. You know, the ground is looking a little bit light right now as it's drying, so I might just give them a ground with a piece of paper. We shall see. Aw, Cheryl says she proposed to her husband. That's awesome. I don't think anyone should have to wait for anyone to propose. I think anyone can propose it. Marriage is a partnership anyway. I was certain that I was going to marry my husband after our first date. I even let my mom know that the night I met him. I'm like, hey, I met my husband. So FYI. It's like, what? Yeah, I could have married him the next day. I don't know. We click. And then I'll do one more up here. I don't know. My too much gene is really kicking in. I think I'm going to do, will that be too much? I did it. See, I'm a little bit impulsive when it comes to crafting. I just think, why not have more fireworks, right? Okay. Okay. Alrighty. What should we finish off this card with? You know, I think I'm going to do a ground for my critters. And I think we're going to do a red border. So I will need to cut down my panel here. Do have a pretty good turnout here for this live, which is surprising me because usually midday lives are not the most popular, but they are in fact when I can be here for you. So that is that. I'm just going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. So this is an A2 sized card. I do get to try a new card base size this week because Craft Roulette, the challenge for this week, is a 4-bar sized card. So let me know in the chat if you've ever done a 4-bar sized card. It's smaller than an A2. I don't have the dimensions memorized, but I think it's going to be interesting to try. All right, these little guys do need a ground more than just what I did with watercoloring. And I think since the top is so full, doing a little shadow bottom is just not cutting it. So we're going to add a ground, a real ground. Is that going to work? That should do it. Sorry for just clicking into the camera or the microphone. Everybody awake? Oh boy. All right. This ground is a little bit of a scrap. I don't know. My little critters are not perfectly on the ground here. My little guy's jumping up. I think that's what we're just going to have to go with. That's the narrative. And I think in this situation, we're going to glue this on and then trim it, which is a little odd. Although it's going to work because my scrap is a little bit wonky. Oh, hello. RLPITTARD says hello from California. Hello, hello. I agree. Under the feet needs movement. Yes. Same. It's just too blank down here. Although we did get a chance to see the little watercolor technique, but now it is hidden forever. I'm going to add some little lines by my hedgehog's feet to kind of indicate that he's jumping up, like little motion lines. And then we'll trim this up. Won't be perfect, but it'll be be done. Chop, chop, chop. We'll get that on. So if you haven't checked out Pajama Crafter Stamps, like I said, they're a great newish company, under 2 years old. So I would say that's newish. And they are a small business. And with how things are going in the crafty world, I will encourage you to shop small as much as you possibly can. I think that is the only way that some of our companies that we love are going to stay in business with the current economy. Ooh, should I do red? Maybe I'll just do white. I told you I'm impulsive, so you're getting the whole scene. I do have a card base on hand, which is good. So we'll just do a little glue moment there. And then we'll get the card base done. And this is a very flat card. So if you need a card to mail to someone and you don't want to spend the extra postage, I would encourage you to try making some flat projects. Now my little bear, his face is looking a little muddled down here. So I'm just going to go in with some more water and just blend it out a little bit more. The nice thing about watercolors is when it's finished like this and dry, if you don't like how it looks, you can always color over it and add more water and add more color and see what you can get. But I do like using heat embossing with this. It just works well. And this is a cute little 4th of July card. All right, we've almost gone to the hour mark. So I think we're going to finish it off with just this card tonight or today. And that's good. Oh, RLPITTARD says, I just bought the black paper you suggested and I love it. Funny you mentioned that. This black strip here is from Pajama Crafter Stamps as well. They have a fabulous black cardstock for heat embossing and for glimmer hot foiling. So if you are a foil person and you have not found that perfect black paper, that's the one. And this is the one to have. I'm going to try with pencil first for my little jumping lines before we get crazy with a black pen. Anyway, but that black paper is really great for, oh brother, I forgot to put the back end on this pencil. It's really great for hot foiling. And I'm super excited because I'm going to go ahead and start Spellbinders clubs for June this afternoon. That's on my to-do. I get to play with some new stuff. And then I get to show you guys later this month. Nope, not this month, June 1st. There we go. I think I need 3 lines on each side, or should I do, let's do 6 because that's, no. Let's do 5. We'll do 2 on this side, 1 and a 2, a 1, a 2, a 3. I don't know, to me, I'm just not getting our lines right here. Oh, they say it foils beautifully. It does. It does. And usually some cardstocks just do not foil nicely. And that one does foil so well. So if you want to do black foiling, which is so fun, it looks so good with literally any color, I would recommend getting that black paper. Once again, shopping small is, in my opinion, the only way that some of our near and dear card companies and craft supply companies are going to stay afloat, is to shop small. There we go. I'm also going to add a little, I think I'm going to add a little motion, little lines here for my drum, like it just is hitting the drum. My little foxy. There we go. So cute. Lastly, I'm going to add glitter. So if glitter bothers you, I'm sorry. This might not be the time for you to watch. Oh dear, where's my glitter? Glitter fairies, help me find my glitter. Oh. All right, well, I don't know where my glitter is, so we're going to use the next best thing, which is a Wink of Stella pen, which has glitter in it. Well, now I need to find my glitter. That's going to bother me. But we're going to make these little fireworks extra sparkly since they're little explosions. I forgot that this is water-based. Okay. All right. Pivot a little bit. This one I think is not as water-based as my other one. Oh, that's going to bother me. It's fine. Maybe it's just some firework dust that happens to be red. This one, I made my own I made my own sparkle pen with some rubbing alcohol, and I think it was called like 1000 stars or something, but it's some kind of a sparkly pigment. But I just used my old Wink of Stella, so it should be fine because it is rubbing alcohol in there. And I won't rub the stuff, the glitter around. I'll just kind of pounce it. And then we'll go to the blue. It's going to be fine. No biggie. And then I think I want to be extra and add a gemstone or something to the center of these fireworks, just to make them extra sparkly. Ooh. I think your name is, well, it's a whole lot of letters, but someone in the comments says, I own my small business and would really appreciate every customer I receive. It means the world to us. Yes. Go ahead and drop your link to your shop, please. In the comments, if you have an online way to shop for people to shop, please do that. I always like to have options for people to shop, so drop a link. Oh, Kathleen says she made her own glitter pen too. Isn't it fun? I'm going to do the blue ones first. Looks like we're going to have 4 blues as I open the red side. Oh, where did my little tool go? Oh, there it is. Little weird hack. If you have a pokey pen like this, there's a pokey side and then there's a wax tip side. This is I use for gems, and I did glue a little gem to this top. So when I'm crafting in a hurry, I will just see that this has a gem on the top and I just grab it off. So I don't know, maybe that helps you, but it was one little life hack I did in my craft room once upon a time. And we'll just add those on. Pajama Crafter Stamps is also in the embellishment side of things. So they have embellishments. So if you want to go ahead and check that out for them too. If you're going to buy embellishments, you might as well shop a small business. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, that's going to mean there's 8 gems on my project. You know what that means, right? We're going to have to add another one because I know specifically Joy does not like even numbers on cards. So we're going to put another gem on our fox, on his little hat. That'll be great. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the little red ones. And then we're going to put a gem, a yellow gem, right here. So sorry I keep hitting the camera. When I'm doing lives, I don't always remember that I'm doing a live with my hands, and I will just like whop the camera. And that is something that I do edit out of my long form videos. Alrighty, my card is complete. A little 4th of July moment. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Oh, good. She has her name of the store there, or he or she has their name of the store there. It's called Millie Apothecary. Cool. I also, Sharon says, I wrapped with washi tape and wax end. Oh, that's another great idea. So I'm assuming she means that she would do like little washi tape here or on the cap. That's smart. Kathleen says, card is lovely. Paula says, love it. Thank you. Thanks for joining me here today, and happy Tuesday. I don't know how, but it's already May 20th. So that's crazy. But thanks for watching. If you watched live, that's awesome. If you're watching in the replay, that's wonderful as well. So thank you so much for joining me here today, whether that be live or on the replay. And check out Pajama Crafter Stamps. Again, a great small business to support. We'll see you next time. Bye, crafty friend. Oh, one more thing. I have a video coming on the Pajama Crafter channel, I think on Thursday of this month, or this week, where I'm using the more like American style theme. So if you do get stuff like this product and other American style items, go ahead and check out the Pajama Crafter Stamps YouTube channel, and you'll see me over there, as well as some other lovely crafters. All right. Oh, she says, my name is Leanne. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Leanne, for sharing that. And thank you, everyone, for joining me here today. Bye-bye. Have a good day.